Hi, we're back, and this is session number 12 with Jen and Jules, and Jules and Jen.
Hey there.
And with Jules Mediumship Development. So thank you very much for tuning in again, and it's going to be another exciting evening. All right, I better put my glasses on. First of all, my mic, then my glasses.
Oh, yeah. That's right, the mic.
The two things I need. Well, when you left, you had a journal, but you hadn't filled it out.
Yes.
Let's see what you've done here. Tell me about your journal.
Well, I filled it out. So I've got my area for mediumship, so I put in all my names that I've worked thus far. And then I also have conversations with the higher self. So this is where I put all the songs that I get, and also any conversations. So this would probably be where I would put my automatic writing.
Okay, okay.
And then I also have my guide work. So I filled all my guides in. So right now I have 8 of them. So I have my Master Guard Roger, my Healer Guide Rodney, my Guardian Angel Emma, the Child Spirit Serena, and then I've got the Totems, Anka, Wally, and Mojave. And then I also have my Gatekeeper.
Okay.
And then I put in my guide descriptions in there, which I do need to work on because I started kind of going through them, but then I haven't really done much work on that. And then I have my templates, which is whenever I'm doing mediumship, and like the red pants, for example, was one of my templates that let me know that I was speaking to a grandmother. And then heat in the body sensation relates to cancer or disease. And then when I see pictures of my family members, it tells me that the spirit that I'm speaking to is either of that relationship or has similar characteristics of that person. So that's what I have so far. And then I just have all my notes.
Okay, I want to go back to your guides. Now you've given me their names. Refresh me on them as to where they sit and who they are.
So Roger is pretty much the guide that I work with, that I do grounding, and he's kind of my, I'm trying to think here. He's just my mediumship, my main, like my master guide. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got Rodney, who's my healer guide. So whenever someone's passed, Rodney will help me to feel the sensation of what that person felt in their body. So these actually, that's been really helpful for me.
And why?
Because I think I'm very empathic, and so feeling is a big thing for me. And so, you know, I noticed that some of these spirits that I was reading, when I was trying to feel how they passed, sometimes if I didn't get how they passed correct, I definitely had the sensations of what they went through correct. So that seems to be, for me, I feel like that's a strong thing that I have, that if I use my feeling, that I can, you know, be more accurate when I'm working with people's deaths. So I would like to work with Rodney more because, you know, he's been really great. And then Emma, I haven't really worked with Emma much. She's my guardian angel. So I would like to spend more time working with her a little bit, and same with Serena, because I haven't worked with a lot of children spirits.
So what's Serena? Like you said, she's a child spirit?
She's a little girl, and she came through with, I mean, looking like a little girl, and basically she said she's going to help me to work with children.
Okay, good.
And then I've got Anka. So these are, I would say, my 3 animal totems. They're around me all the time. So they're the ones, they're like protection, they're wisdom, they're...
so separate them.
Well, I would say that Anka is my right, it's always on the left. And that's kind of the main guide, the one that I feel more comfortable with. I feel like I've had this guide in my life for a very long time, since I was a child. So this is kind of like a security blanket guide for me. And then Wally came to me about 6 years ago as a power animal when I did some work in a vision quest. And so Wally and I have been working together for a while. and I believe it's to help me with my emotional body. So Wally, because I mean the whale's the record keeper, it's all about the wisdom, so it's definitely a guardian for me. And then Mojave was gifted to me in 2010, and it's a power animal, and it's a wolf.
Okay, and so how do you feel about the wolf?
You know, at the time I was supposed to really spend a lot of time and get to know it, but I think I was just so freaked out that I never really took that time. I do picture Mojave in my mind's eye every day because she walks at my back. But yes, I do feel like I need to get to know these guys a bit better.
Okay, just a little bit of an aside here. So when you were a child, did you ever feel like that you had a dream where a wolf was chasing you, or like coming up close to you, or if there was a whale that was doing that, or a unicorn? Did you ever feel anything like that?
No, but before, I mean, when I was a kid, I always talked to someone and I felt like I was always being comforted, but I didn't really know who it was that I was speaking to. But for Wally the whale, yes, I did have quite a few dreams before Wally came into my life.
Okay.
And I woke up one time and I was in, like, it felt like I was swimming in ginger ale, because it was golden water with bubbles.
Yeah.
And I was standing in it, and then all of a sudden I actually felt as if it was really happening, a whale swimming around me. And when I saw the eye of the whale, it startled me and I went out a keyhole. And then I was on the outside of the keyhole and I was like, damn it, I like frightened myself. So, but that actually happened quite a few times where the whale came to visit me ahead of time.
Yeah.
To let me know that I was transitioning to a different stage in my spiritual development, and that this whale would be my guide in for that portion.
Yeah, to protect you. So sometimes you'll have an animal come through and you'll have a dream and it won't be a nice dream, and you'll think that you wake up and you think that animal is going to hurt you, or in the dream you feel it's going to hurt you. It's actually not going to hurt you. It's actually there to protect you, but it might be, grinning, baring its teeth for a reason, not for you, but for something other than you, to protect you. So that's usually why if animals come through and they feel threatening, it's not to be threatening to you, it's to protect you from something else. Yeah.
Well, with the unicorn, that was like that. It was after I went through the spiritual warfare that someone had told me it was important that I try to connect with the unicorn, but I had a lot of trouble because I had too much fear. And one night I was just about to fall asleep, and right as I was relaxed enough, I heard this click, and all of a sudden I saw myself tumbling down a hill with the horse. And what I realized, and it wasn't a scary thing, but what I realized in that moment was that horse took that moment to connect to me.
Yes.
And after that happened, I remember I saw the horse crying. He looked like a cartoon. And what I realized is that this horse had been with me my whole life, but because I was so afraid of the spirit world, I cut off my connection to him, and that's why he was crying.
Yeah. So just reflect on that. If that happens to anybody out there, just reflect on it, that that animal is there for you, to help you, not to be against you.
They've been great. I found that sometimes the animals were easier to take than a human spirit.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to move on here to creative writing, automatic writing. Just give me a little bit of information on that. I know you've started it.
Yes, so I started doing it. So I started doing it one morning. I woke up and I was sitting down having my coffee, and I was just kind of taking a moment, and I felt, okay, you know what, I feel like I could talk to spirit now. So I just, and I remembered you said to do the automatic writing, so I was like, what am I going to write? So I just kind of started writing, and I did. I felt like it flew, and it was some advice that spirit was giving me, like another comparison or whatever that they sometimes do. And then I did stop and go back into it at night. I can't even remember what it was about, but what I can tell you...
That doesn't matter. So what I want really from you at this point is the feeling that you had with spirit when you first went into it, and then when you went into it again in the evening, because I asked you to go into it AM and PM. So in the evening, the feeling that you got when you went back in it in the evening. So give me those two feelings. That's really what I'm looking for here.
Well, I always feel a bit of a drowsiness, and sometimes I see my hand glowing. So like I see the aura of my hand.
So this is the when you first
when I first sat down. And so I just started writing, and I don't know, it's weird. It's like a flowing feeling where it's just coming out, and I don't really it's almost like spirit is like maybe 1 second ahead of me, and so it's just like a talking or something, and so I'm just writing it down. So I did write a paragraph, and then I stopped. And then when I went into it that night, what I did that I found was helpful was I rewrote what I had wrote earlier on in the day to just kind of get that energy flowing again. And then I felt that feeling come over me again, a bit of a drowsy feeling. And then I don't know, I was just able to add to it.
That's good.
It helped to rewrite it though, because otherwise it could have been a different story that they told me. But I think by rewriting it, or even reading it, or breathing into that paragraph, it kind of helps to reopen that space.
It does. You're building on. You have a base, right? And so you're building that story on the base. So you're continuing that story, and that's what I want. So I wanted the feeling like in and the feeling out to see what happened.
And what is this for? Like when you want me to work on automatic writing, how will that help me?
So automatic writing helps you if you go back and read it again. You could wait, you could go back like an hour or two, or the next day, or a week, and something will pop out to you that is a lesson for you that you've learned. Or if somebody has asked you something and you don't know, then you read that and you go, oh, that's the answer to what this person had asked me.
Got it.
There's always a reason why spirit will give you information, and you don't have to use it right away. You could use it way down the road. However, it's the opportunity for them at that time to present that information to you.
Okay, so when spirit sends me music, is that sort of automatic at the same time? Because I'm having to like figure out what the song is. So Spirit sent me the song last week, The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, and it is such a great song for what I was going through. It took me a while to figure it out. I got the melody first, and then I hummed it, and then I just kept hearing like, be all right, and then so I started with that, and then eventually I had like a whole sentence. I felt like a line out of the song, and so I just Googled it, and I knew it was from the 80s, and when I brought it up, I listened to it, and I got all the shivers and stuff. But there was a moment that I had to work with spirit, like for, a couple hours, because it comes through.
And it came through, and spirit is working with you when that happens. You just, if you want to continue it happening, like that song evolving, that's good. That's where we're working through it. If you don't want it to evolve, you just shut it down. So
I do want it to evolve because it's a message.
Yeah, that's right. So spirit again has taken the opportunity to open that door to come in and work with you. You just have to realize that you need to shut that door sometimes if you don't want them to come in, right? You still have to have boundaries. But this was obviously a good opportunity, and you obviously needed to hear the words to that song because they were relevant to you.
It took me, honestly, it raised my vibration because it made light of a situation that I think it just got me feeling yucky. And then I heard the song, and I just thought, you know what, that's so true, and it was it was really upbeat, and it was just kind of like, because I do wonder sometimes, like, where I am on my path and stuff, and basically it says, like, you're in the middle of the ride, but everything's going to be okay,
and it is.
And I just thought, this song, it just made me feel really good. It was like I was able to let the situation go, and, and I actually listened to that song, like, every day, probably for the next week, because it made me feel good.
It's relevant, definitely is relevant to you.
It was.
same thing happened to me a while ago, and sometimes these things happen and you don't really click into them, but you know better. You know, I had a situation where I had met somebody and we went out, and then no, it wasn't good, and of course it involved riding in horses and mountains, which I do all the time, and then there's this really weird song that came on the radio. It was a hillbilly song, and it was so relevant to that situation. It's like, oh wow. And yeah, Spirit comes through and tells you these things. They're telling you that what you're doing is the right thing, the path you're taking is the right thing. They actually give you tools. So that song for you and for me was a tool to show us that, hey, yeah, you know what, we were right, we're doing the right thing here. And that's very, very empowering.
It was, and it was good because, I mean, I just gotten the melody in the beginning. Like I was humming it, I could hear it playing in my head, and I thought, what is this? And so I had to work at it. So that was great because I felt like it just made me wonder how they can get the music from the other side to send it over.
Well, with a lot of hard work.
Is it? That was so good.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think they send me the songs because right now I've had like, it just started, I told you, like in 2018 that they started using music to talk to me. It was since my friend had passed. And I wondered if maybe that was my friend's way of them speaking to me.
Yeah.
But, oh, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I think I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 songs so far.
So what are the names of the songs?
So I was going through a tough time because I had a friend pass away. And so that song Happier by Marshmello, it's just saying, you know, I want you to be happier. And then High Hopes, it's just kind of about love by Panic, and Girl Like You, Maroon 5, White Lights, Rural Alberta, Blame It On Me, George Ezra, Effervescence, My Immortal, and The Middle, Jimmy Eat World. I think they're all great.
Yeah, so that's good. So Jules is building her repertoire of songs.
I know, I gotta make a CD. I gotta make a CD. I thought I'll make a CD of them.
Yeah,
that's why I'm writing them down, because these are definitely songs that
well, they're very relevant to you.
They were so much so because it's not like that it came through my head and I had to really work at getting these. Like some of these songs I didn't even know that song Happier by Marshmello. I just could hear the melody.
Yes, and it's great. Definitely another way of connecting. So you're connecting again. All right, now we're just going to move on here.
Grail.
Yeah, my master guide, I had asked my master guide to go and talk with Jules and help her out a little bit. And this was related to boundaries. So what happened?
You know what? I actually saw him quite quickly. And I didn't even call on him or anything. So I went home after a ceremony that I had, and I went to have a salt bath. And so when I went into the bathroom, I put like a privacy sign on the door, and I shut the door, and I heard Spirit acknowledge that they got it. And then I get in the bath, and all of a sudden Grail comes whipping in, and he shuts a black curtain around me. And what he said is that so he told me that if I use a dark curtain, it doesn't make my light stand out as much.
Okay.
And so he said because otherwise he showed me like a lighthouse with like my light. And he said that, you know, even like a nun or a priest wears like black on them, you know, and I never understood that.
No.
But he did say that the black cape will just hide my light in times that I want like total privacy.
Okay.
And then he also told me that grounding is really important for me, and that when I'm not grounded in my body, he said I'm actually hovering above myself. And how I can see that is, it's happened to me before where if I go to the washroom and I sit down, I notice my knees are right beside me, or I'm like watching myself from a bird's eye view, like as I'm doing stuff around my house. I'm watering my plants, but I can actually see myself watering my plants. So what he said to me is that that's how I can recognize that I'm not grounded. And he said when I'm actually not grounded and I am like out of myself that I'm broadcasting myself. And so not only can I see myself through a bird's eye view, but that I've also broadcasting myself in the spirit world. And so he said, like, for me to stay in my body is super important. So obviously I need to work on that with
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was some good information, because you know what, I never thought about that. I never thought that when I'm hovering above myself that I'm actually broadcasting myself to the spirit world, that I'm less protected and less, which that makes sense.
When spirit comes in, like when spirit comes in to do a reading or something, or I've asked you to bring somebody through with information, they'll come through. They're not standing on the floor when they're standing. They're standing, but it's standing like they're kind of standing this height and up. So they say spirit doesn't, in their dimension, they're standing 3 to 4 feet higher than us. And that's so true, because when spirit comes in, they're standing. And then, I can ask them to go sit aside, and then they can go sit on the step. But when they come in, they're hovering as well. So you're on that plane that they were on.
Well, when I'm hovering, I'm essentially in the fourth dimension, and I'm broadcasting.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting a lot of attention, that's why.
And that's good that he said to ground.
Yeah, because I never would have understood that. And so from that moment on, I noticed that, after our last class, when I went home, whenever I say like privacy, I feel like I have that, I feel it in my heart, like as if Spirit's saying, like,
we're acknowledging you.
Yeah, they acknowledge me.
Yeah, and they're starting to respect that as well in you. That's good. We all like to have respect. It can be respect from people here and from the spirit world, but we have to earn it as well, and we have to be reticent of how they feel as well. So that's great. Yeah, the respect is starting to come.
For sure. And then I did have something else happen to me that we didn't...
Was there something else with Grail, or was that...
That's it with Grail.
The big thing? Okay. What was the other thing here?
So I wrote it down. So October 14th was Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, it was.
So I went to bed that night, and I got into bed, and I closed my eyes, and I have a lamp at the other end of my room, and it's like one of those little stems, that you turn.
Yeah.
So I heard this click, and I had this bright light come at me, but then it went off right away. And so when I opened my eyes, it was pitch black, but I knew that there was a light turned on, and I thought maybe someone was in my house. So as I went to get up out of bed, then the lamp turned on again really quick and off. And so I noticed it was the lamp in my bedroom at the end of my bed. And then so as I was getting up and walking towards it, it came on one more time. It just like it actually, the first time it went on, it clicked. And it's pretty hard to click it. Yeah. So the first time it did that, but the other 2 times it just shone off and on. The third time that it shone, I noticed a big, huge ball of violet in my room.
Yeah, spirits visiting you. Yeah.
And so that was it. But it's like, I don't think they meant for it to go off and on, because then they really scared me. I thought there was someone broken into my house, and I went from like, oh, to like, where's that bat that I've got beside my bed, So
yeah,
I was like, guys, if you just would have turned the light on and left it on. But
yeah, well, sometimes the energy of the spirit makes electrical things do weird things, and so from what I'm getting is that they didn't mean the light to go off and on.
No,
they just meant to come and visit you with their beautiful, loving energy, the energy of spirit, which is purple, right? It is so beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yes, so they've just come to visit you when you were asleep, except you're so in tuned and you're so intuitive that you actually woke up and you saw it. So I don't think that was their intention, that you did see that. Their intention was just to come and, give you good feelings, good wishes.
Well, it was different. I mean, I've had a lot of things. I've had a lot of experiences myself with the spirit world, but not so much my house, where things are touched and moved.
Yeah.
So that was different, for sure. Yeah. So that was just something I wanted to mention to you.
Yeah. And if you if you want to, when you go to bed, put the intention out, I accept your loving light and protection. And they might come again or they might not. It just depends how you feel. Okay, we are going to go to the end here, I think. All right, so I want to do a debriefing on, are these exercises helping you, and what do you think?
Okay. Well, actually, it's good that you asked me that, because while I was putting my book together, it was kind of like I was really kind of going through all the exercises again, sort of. And, you know, I really do miss when you used to give me the name and I would go home and do a reading, because I actually, you know, when I was first doing them, I didn't really, like, I was so in it. But after, as I was writing this, I was like, wow, I got some amazing information. Like, I was really proud of myself.
And that's another reason why you need a journal, because you can go back and reflect and go, hey, yeah, I really did that. And that really came, you know, like, I really did say that she was this or that. Yeah.
I do.
Give yourself a pat on the back then when you go back and see it.
So as I was reading the names, I was like, wow, you know, these were really great exercises, and I do miss them a little bit because it was a different type of exercise. Like, yes, I do have contact with spirit on a daily basis, but this was actually taking me into another place, because I don't normally contact spirits and do readings on them. Like, it's more just me and my team that communicate. So yeah, this was really, really helpful. And when I was going through my book, I also wish that I would have done a little bit more work on my guides, because you gave me a couple exercises and it was actually really helpful in me getting to know my guides. So what you had asked me to do was to get one of my guides to tell me a story. Right. And so yeah, I did that a couple times, but I actually think that would have been helpful for me to do that with all my guides.
That's going to be part of your homework, okay? I'm just going to give you your homework here.
But yeah, so far, these have all been really helpful. It's just, for me, using my mediumship brain in ways that I wouldn't think of on my own.
I think it's sorting things out. You know, you have, it's like Scrabble, right? You have all the words out there, but you've got to put them together to find them. And the alphabet's there, and you've got to find them. So now you're finding them, and then you're starting to place them, and place them where you want them. And I
just feel like I have a sense of order, a little bit more of a sense of order, and I also feel like I have allies, which I didn't really feel like I had before.
Yes, yeah, you have a team, and you have a team of people that love you and, you know, hold you in high reverence. And yeah, that will do anything to help you with your development of spirit. So my homework here, and she does have homework again today, I want you to continue with your automatic writing, and I want you to continue through a few series of your automatic writing. All right, then there's two things here that I want you to do. Yeah. I want you to get another story from your spirit guide, but this one is sitting in the power for 7 minutes, write, come out and write some information, then for 5 minutes, then come out and write some information, and then sit in for 3 minutes and come out and write some information. So that's getting your story, you're going back 3 times, and you'll have your story. Okay. So that's, I want to call that continuous, okay? Okay. Okay, and then the next ones, that would be story number 1. Story number 2, I want you to do the same thing, a different story with a different guide, and I want it to be intermittent, not continuous. So I want you to sit down and start the story and then go do something, or you can take a, you know, like an afternoon or an evening, do it throughout the day, but don't sit down and do the whole thing.
Got it. So the first one is consecutive. Yes. Over like a 20-minute period, and then this one is more like it can be over even a period of a week, just as long as I have 3 parts.
Yes, that's right. Got it. Yeah, and as long as you have it for when we meet together next time. Okay. Okay, that's good. I also had map written down here, and I know you didn't do your map.
I did my map. I just forgot to put it in my book, but I will.
So if I don't see it, she didn't do it.
Oh
okay?
no, am I in trouble?
I want to see that map.
I will. Because there was a little write-up that went with it. I did have a little automatic writing. Remember I explained it to you?
Yes,
so
and it was
I will
great.
add my map
Okay.
with writing. Sneaky little bugger.
Okay. That's the end of the homework.
Oh, and there was something, you did mention a gentleman's name.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Arthur Conan Doyle.
Not for this one here.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do for the next one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I think she's got enough information now to keep you going, right, for a little bit of time. Well, I just want to say that was a delightful evening. I'm getting tongue-tied here, and I must be getting tired.
I know. And yeah, no, this is good. I'm excited now to have a little bit more activities and
structured and I'm happy that the structure is coming along really well.
You're
so lucky to have me because I never had anybody.
Yeah, but I'm like in my 40s. It's been like 40 years of just like, it's like I'm a lost kite just floating around, you know. So I can definitely, I mean, I really do appreciate the help, and it's definitely helping. But I also can relate to you, where I know what it's like to kind of be alone in all of this too. So that's why, you know, these sessions I'm extra grateful for.
Okay, we're gonna thank you for coming and tuning, and I'm going to say goodbye now, and bless you all, and we'll see you at the next session.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Stay warm and happy Halloween.